something that has been on my mind for quite some time is this topic, and I want to talk about it because I think a lot of people need to hear it, and a lot of people don't realize that they have these kinds of relationships. So what is a devolving relationship or a mutating relationship? I want to define it. I don't want to say just toxic relationships because that's a trigger word and a lot of people already know something about that, but I want to call it devolving relationships because it's more specific. Now, what is a devolving relationship? It's a relationship wherein people, friendships you have, maybe relationships you have, maybe a family member, dad, mom, brother, sister, cousin, auntie, uncle, whatever it is. All right, these are relationships in your life that actually make you devolve. You don't grow, you shrink. You don't evolve, you devolve. You end up mutating and becoming something deformed, something that you're not happy about, something you're not proud of. And this happens to everybody because everybody will have something like this, all right? No person is immune. Don't feel guilty. Don't think, oh man, I don't want to have this. But we all have it in our lives. If it's not family, it can be friends. If it's not friends, it's people who join certain communities in your life. Like, for example, you are in a church and you're supposed to be loving and all of that. And then someone new comes into church, and this someone new is a devolver. Okay, so the devolver enters church and you're kind of confused. What do? I am a Christian. I gotta be loving. I gotta be gracious. But this person doesn't seem to want to change. This person doesn't want to repent of certain patterns in life. And this person is devolving everybody else. All right, so what do we do? How can we fix this, and how do we avoid it? All right, so definition of terms first. A devolver is somebody who ends up causing you to devolve. What's the solution? The first solution really is to get to know and be clear about your own values. And I know that sounds very, very common, but then we gotta go through this because a lot of you have forgotten this. All right, a lot of us have forgotten this. I forget this from time to time. You gotta know your values. You gotta know what you believe in. You gotta make sure that you know yourself. So know yourself, then know them. So you have to know you, and then you have to know them. You have to know you first. What are your values? What do you believe in? What do you not believe in? What do you agree with? What do you not agree with? And you gotta be clear about those things. These are called convictions. When you have very strong convictions about certain things, then you will know exactly what you're gonna avoid from others. And the problem is a lot of times we compromise. We don't like the feeling of letting other people down. And so what happens is, even if you know what you value, when these devolvers enter your life, you end up compromising your values and you begin to change for them. And the problem is that a lot of these devolvers will ruin other relationships in your life. So let me give you a few examples that are real, practical, and specific. I've met several people who are, for example, there's this guy's name is John, fictional name, right? So, I mean, fictional character. Let's say there's this guy's name is John. And John is a very happy, outgoing person. He's always, a very light person. And when you hang out with John, you just feel like he wants to get to know you, and he's very open with you, and he feels like he wants you to get to know him. So you have a tendency to open up when John's around, and he opens up to you, and it's just a really good relationship, really, really friendly. And then John gets a girlfriend, and let's say the girlfriend's name is, I don't know, Jane. And Jane is maybe more of a shyer type of person, but Jane is beyond that. She starts telling John, you shouldn't really be that open to people because, they're probably going to treat you wrongly. They're going to do this and that. And so John kind of stops opening up to people now. And then Jane says, babe, John, you're too energized and you're too loud and I don't like it. It's just too much. Can you not do that? And so John lessens his energy with people and he becomes more shy, more timid. And then you start to see, Jane starts to say, John, you spend so much time with your family and your friends and da-da-da-da-da. I want you to spend more time with me because I just feel this and that. And so John starts to let go of some of his relationships, some of his friendships, and he just focuses more on Jane. And so you notice John, before Jane entered his life, John was very open, very full of energy, very positive, very excited. When you hang out with him, you just feel so much better about yourself and about him and about your friendship. after you hang out. But after Jane, John seems a little bit more reserved, more negative. He's less positive. He's less energetic. When you leave your hangout time with John, you feel a little bit less of yourself. And so what happened is Jane diminished John. So Jane devolved John. And so that's what happened, because John did not really know himself. He did not know himself that well enough. He was by default a great person, but because he had no convictions and he did not set proper boundaries and he did not choose the right people to allow to enter into his life suddenly changed, and his character and his personality changed. And people say, oh really, you can change? Personalities can change? Obviously yes. We can change for the better, we can change for the worse, because humans are highly adaptive people. Your personality can even change. All right, so that's the first step. You got to know who you are. You got to know your values. You got to know what's right and what's wrong. And you got to start to think this way. Not only is it about values, it's about relationships. Why? Well, the Bible says bad company corrupts good character. And so there are only two kinds of people that should be allowed into your life. Only two. I say this all the time. Only two people. The people that influence you for the better, and the people that you are influencing for the better. All right, so there should be people in your life who are helping you become better, or there are people who you are helping to become better. So you got to know who these people are. And so there are people who should be permanently in your life, right? So many times, not 100% guarantee, but very many times, it's usually the healthy family members in your life. These are people who hold mostly permanent places in your life. So your dad, your mom, your brother, your sister, if they are healthy and they're not toxic, they're not, exasperating, if these are good and healthy, loving people in your life who truly, genuinely love you, then yes, they hold a permanent place in your life. Your kids, your sons, your daughters, your cousins. Now, if these are good and healthy relationships in your life, then you got to protect them. So you have to know who you are, and you have to know who they are. So who you are, your values. Now know who they are. Healthy relationships. Healthy relationships in your life are the people who are actually adding value to your life, increasing, strengthening, edifying the good convictions you have in your life. Know who they are. There are also some people who will start entering your life, and these are the devolvers. These are people who will try to ruin your good relationships. These are people who will eventually cause you to devalue your healthy relationships, your healthy convictions, your healthy values. These are people who will very subtly flatter you, play with your ego, or maybe give you some sort of benefit. If it's a boyfriend or a girlfriend, then obviously they will try to take from you by adding something else. And usually, if these are people who will ruin your value system, who will ruin your healthy relationships, they will try to convince you to do these things by pretending to add value to your life, but actually they are taking more than they are adding. They are removing so much more from your life, from your character, your personality, your friendships, your relationships, your family, than they are adding to them. All right, so you're on the losing end of the deal. All right, so be very careful. So you gotta know who you are by your values. You gotta know who you are by the good relationships and healthy relationships you have, and then you gotta know who they are in terms of, are these people devolvers in your life? And so if you notice that you are becoming more diminished, devolving your value for loved ones, for family, for good stuff, they're changing. You're getting more, and you'll know this when your good friends who truly love you are saying something. When your family and friends who really love you are starting to say, hey, you've got this person in your life who's not very healthy for you. Hey, bro, sis, dude, bruv, this person in your life, it could be a brother, sister, cousin, whoever, could be a boyfriend, girlfriend. I noticed that you've changed. I've noticed that you're no longer as positive as you used to be. You don't value your family as much. You're ruining your obligations and your duties. You used to be this noble person, this admirable person in these areas of life, and now you're this and that, and it's just kind of, when they say those things, you really have to reassess yourself. And you got to ask yourself this question. Well, there are three questions you got to ask yourself. Question number one. These people who love me, do they have anything to gain by causing tension and by confronting me about these new relationships? Do they have anything to gain? Do they have some ulterior motive for why they are saying these negative things about my new friendship, my new relationship? Because if they have nothing to gain, then that means they really care about you and they really love you and they just want the best for you, right? And so if they have nothing to gain, it means you really have to sincerely reassess these new relationships in your life. They might be devolvers in your life. So that's the first question. Here's the second question. Are you really gaining more than you are losing? That's the second question. Because these devolvers, you will not allow them in your life if they've got nothing to add. The question is not, are they adding anything? The question is, are they adding more than they are taking? Is this healthy as a relationship? Because if you say, well, they're adding this and that to me, well, that's obviously true, because no one is going to be, well, I hope you're not going to be dumb enough to just keep giving and giving and giving and never taking anything at all for yourself. And so, they're obviously going to add something into your life. So the question is, again, the question is not, are they adding something into your life? The question is, are they taking more than they are adding? Are they improving your life more than they are destroying it? Are they helping you become a better person? So you got to decide, do you want to be a better father, a better mother, a better cousin, a better brother, a better pastor, a better Christian, a better this, a better that? Now, are they helping you become a better blank more than ruining those things that you value in your life, right? So that's the second question. So the first question, my current healthy relationships who I've known in the past, do they have anything to gain by causing friction, tension, and confronting me about this relationship? Second question, this relationship that they are questioning, are they removing more than they are adding? Are they devolving me more than they are growing me? So that's the second question. And here's the third question. Now this is going to be more painful, and I know that this is, but here's the third question. Once you've made up your mind after the first and second question, you realize, oh my goodness, okay, I am really losing more than I am gaining. I am regressing more than I am growing. I am destroying myself more than I am improving because of these devolvers in my life. So here's the third question. What are some practical, consistent ways that I will remove the devaluers in my life? In other words, what are some very practical, specific, and clear boundaries that I have to make to remove the devolvers from my life? Because you have to make a decision to remove them. It's not enough to just say, okay, I'm going to keep them in my life and I'm just going to watch myself. Because the fact that you have already devolved, that you have destroyed certain areas of your life already, means you're weak against them. And so it's very, very stupid if you decide, I'm still gonna keep them in my life, knowing I am. It's like Superman saying, I already know I'm weak against kryptonite, so I'm just gonna build my immunity by keeping the kryptonite around me. No, the best thing for Superman to do is to get away from kryptonite as far as he can, or to get the kryptonite away from him. Either way, either he leaves or the kryptonite leaves, but there must be a separation, there must be distance, there must be a practical way to do these things. So maybe start talking to your friends, your family, your loved ones. Tell them, hey, I gotta ask you for some help. You be my accountability partner. Help me stay away from these devolvers in my life, right? So that has to be a thing that's practical. Now here's the other caveat that I'm gonna say. Some of them you're not going to be able to 100% fully remove. For example, that might be a family member, or there might be some other factors that like your roommates, you're paying rent together and you cannot afford to leave, or you're paying this and that kind of mortgage together or whatever, right? Or you still owe this person some money, or this person still owes you some money, all right? So things like that. There are some other factors. Then you have to find ways to have very practical, consistent boundaries to make sure that they don't affect you, that they don't devolve you any further. Now, I know that this is more generic, but I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that this opened up your mind to a lot of potential issues in your life that could be very easily resolved if only the devolvers were no longer a deep-rooted part of your life. I hope this helped. God bless you.